Hey guys, as promised, welcome to a new series I like to call Before and After. Now today's before and after. I already did my video on Blockbuster Critic the other year. Now, let's talk about another YouTuber that I'm a fan of. And don't worry, this won't be me talking epic shit about this person. This is not me bashing this person. This is not me criticizing this person, not necessarily. But I will talk about the one person who pretty much was kind of the Pedro Pascal of YouTube. Yeah, don't you remember that Pedro Pascal was pretty much that actor that people were liking, and now come to this year, people kind of hate him now. But now, getting back on topic, Chris Stuckmann. Yes, I know a lot of you are probably expecting me to talk epic shit about Chris Stuckmann. I know a lot of you are expecting me to bash the shit out of Chris Stuckmann, but I assure you guys, I won't be doing that. Not really, not necessarily. But I will tell you, Chris Stuckmann is the inspiration of my channel. He's the inspiration of my channel for a good reason. Now let me go into more details. Chris Stuckmann started back in 2009. I would say maybe early 2009. But somewhere around that time, his first review was on the Miyazaki movie Ponyo. And since then, he's been making countless videos, during that time. 2009, well, I might get this out of the way and I'll move on to more other things. He did certain videos on certain films. 2009, he did talked about, and don't worry, I'm going to be brief with it. He definitely reviewed Dragon Ball Evolution, and thanks to the, I guess, assuming still protest channel that's still on YouTube. Heck, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not wrong. I can look it up again. Yeah, they managed to keep his review of Dragon Ball Evolution. And now let's move on to other things. Other films that Chris did. Now, Chris, during that time, his channel was a little bit like this. Just having posters in the background of certain films. And his reviews were pretty much like this. It was a movie that starred George Clooney. And it was a movie that's won a lot of Oscars. And, it's a really good movie. You should really check it out. Yeah, that was Chris Stuckmann back in the day. And even he's realized, wow, I'm surprised people were able to stay with me during that time. But anyways, Chris, well, during the 2010s era, he really made some marks. He talked about the Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie, which, Chris, don't worry, I was the same way as you. And the two films that he still has on his channel, which I'm surprisingly he still have, are his review for Inception. Wow. And also, yes, Last Airbender. But somehow, Chris also isn't just, a reviewer. Like me, also, he makes movies. Some of his recent he had a personal channel that he had during the time, and that's where he released, well, not just his short films, but also music videos he used to do back in the day. Mostly, majority of Michael Jackson style of dancing, and mostly the majority of starring people of his friend circle. He did his own take on Halloween, the 1978 version of Halloween as we knew it during the time. And yes, Chris, during that time, doesn't have the channel anymore because as you expect. What do you really expect? YouTube. So yeah, copyright claims. But even though 2010, there was a breaking point for Chris, and that breaking point was pretty much one crucial thing that I will mention about Chris that he finally mentioned in 2021. But let's focus on what happened in 2010. 2010, Chris had to shut down his channel. I mean, had to shut down his channel. Like, Chris had to shut down everything he was doing during the time. Not only that, he had to leave and he had to make a video about it, saying, don't worry, no one didn't do anything, and I'm just quitting. For the meantime, until I feel the need to come back, I will come back. So that's what Chris basically said. He didn't seem too heartbroken, but he felt like he was gaining a popularity during the time. So now in comes 2011. Chris himself made a comeback. Here's the video.
If I have to see one more bad movie, I'm gonna poop out crap!
Chris Stuckmann.
Morgan Freeman?
That's right, son. Morgan Freeman.
Your movies are awesome.
Thank you.
So what's on your mind, Morgan Freeman?
The question is, what's on your mind, son?
Well, I just saw a crap movie.
What movie?
The Last Airbender.
And what are you gonna do about it? You have to spell it out for them these days. You used to do something for people. Something everyone liked. You were a movie critic. Some people said you were the best. You were almost a YouTube partner. Have you forgotten? You have the power to save people from movies like The Last Airbender. You know what you must do.
And not only did he come back, he worked harder to make his channel up there. So most majority of 2011, he did certain reviews for a lot of movies. Actually, majority a lot of movies. Like any movie that was in theaters, or that's a maybe on every movie that was in theaters. He reviewed them, and he did an incredible job reviewing them. Either it was 2012, he became a YouTube partner. Maybe 2012 or 13 or something like that. But all I can just tell you, Chris was on top of the world during the time on YouTube. People thought of him as the greatest YouTube reviewer of all time. And during the time of 2011, and during the time of, I guess, 2011 and 10 or whatever, he had on certain videos that he did, you know, they were most majority of his short films. Now, I still remember Chris's videos of his short films. Two of them I do remember. Life of the Detective, that's one of them. And of course, the one film he really put, I think he put his, I could say his best, but did the best that he could to make his video, you know, as, you know, great, or as a filmmaker would make their video. His film, Don't Let Him Get Away. And most majority of people still have those reviews of Chris's, you know, videos. But now, unfortunately, 2011 or 2012, when he became a YouTube partner, had to take them down. Why? Well, once again, YouTube, so meaning copyrighted music. And also, just let you know, Don't Let Him Get Away. I do like the fact that he did chose the Cowboy Bebop theme song. Yeah, that's how good my memory is, to be honest. Had that, but knew he had to take it down because of, yeah, like I said, copyright. Even if it's an anime, yeah. But anyways, what was Chris's real reason why he had to quit YouTube? And, well, I guess I can talk about this since Chris finally spoke about what his real reason why he left YouTube. Now, of course, if those you remember Double Toast interview that he did during that time, that's when I was like, well, I spoke about it on Double Toast, now I gotta speak about it on my actual channel. Chris made a 50-minute video, or an hour-long video, explaining that our little our big Chris Stuckmann was a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah. Now, most majority of Jehovah's Witness people, they have a certain limits when it comes to certain films. Well, if you know what Jehovah's Witness people are mostly known for, they're mostly known for a lot of things. One being extremely... this could be a stereotype. I hope it's a stereotype. I don't want to get it wrong. But, yeah, they're usually as angry as possible to you when they're at your front door or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a stereotype. Let's hope it's a stereotype. But one thing about Jehovah's Witness people you should know about, they don't celebrate certain holidays. I mean certain holidays. What those holidays are? Well, I'm more than happy to tell you. They don't celebrate Halloween, Easter, Christmas. That's a maybe on Thanksgiving. And most majority of Jehovah's Witness people, they don't celebrate birthdays. And of course, Chris, who was also somewhat big, mostly big with Michael Jackson, had a Michael Jackson shirt that the Jehovah's Witness elders said, Chris, can you please come in our office, please? Quietly, please. And asked him to take off his shirt and gave him a regular shirt. And yes, those you guys know about Michael Jackson. Obviously, he was Jehovah's Witness. And the one thing that Jehovah's Witness people are mostly super strict about, once you leave or do something bad while being in Jehovah's Witness, you're gone. Like, not just gone out of the cult, but you are gone from all of our lives. Like, let's just say Bob, I'm using this as an example. Let's say if Bob was a Jehovah's Witness since, let's just say, 1997, and Bob today leaves Jehovah's Witness, and due to the fact that he left because he did something inappropriate or did something that he wasn't supposed to do. That's the one thing about Jehovah's Witnesses, people. They are really strict on if you... I don't know if I can use the expression, but let's just say... Or where you have private times where you're... you know what my expression is. I don't know if I can say it, but all I just want to say, if you do certain inappropriate things in your private times, they tend to ask you about it. And I mean, ask you about it. Like, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you watch a movie where women were completely topless or anything? And yes, Jehovah's Witness people, they're strict on sex, violence, drugs and alcohol, and all those other things. And most majority, Chris, if you guys seen Chris's channel, you know Chris is a big horror movie fan. Don't worry, I'm going to get to this pretty soon. But you guys know that Chris is a big horror movie fan. Now, in superhero movies, there's some he can watch. But if your movie is, let's just say, Logan, can't watch it or review it. And mostly movies like Thor, definitely can't review that. Yeah. But either way, Chris left Jehovah's Witness and left majority of his friends who were Jehovah's Witness people. Now, yeah, there's still some he's still friends with. There's still some people, you know, Chris is mostly friends with. But yeah, those you probably might want to know, Chris was kind of up there with Jeremy Jahns. And don't worry, just to assure all you, I'm still subscribed to Jeremy Jahns and I'm still subscribed to Chris Stuckmann. But all I just tell you, Chris and Jeremy, they were both like, you know, one's on top and one's on topper. But don't worry, I still watch the majority of both of them, honestly. But I'm going to get into more important things. Chris's other films that he wound up doing, Chris started to kind of step up his game a bit. The one film, I guess, he was trying to step up his game of being a filmmaker, even when he had to film at an actual real-life club, that would be his film, Julia. Julia... Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a small review of Julia. Julia is a film that Chris did where he got inspired by Ryan Gosling's film Drive. And just to assure all of you, Chris loves Drive. Like, extremely loves the hell out of Drive. Like, he thinks Drive is literally the godfather of all movies. I really do mean that during the time. Drive, and I think Ryan Gosling's other film he did with the same director, Only God Forgives. But either way, Julia is his, you know, interpretation of doing his own version of that. But Julia falls on one thing that I might as well say. Chris is not best acting of all time. Chris, this is not a criticism. This is really not a big criticism, but your acting was pretty bad. I know technically you were trying to be like Ryan Gosling, be this stoically dead straight person that will kill you in less than a second. The part where I guess Chris tried his best is when he has the match and he's about to set someone on fire. The way how he did it, it's kind of like how it was like he was doing this type of face. I know he was trying to be stoic, but it's doing this face. It's like he was really, it looked like he was doing the blue steel thing from Zoolander. But yeah, Chris, if you want to do a serious face, do this type of serious face. I know that may you guys shit your pants, but all I just want to say is Chris's acting is, I wouldn't say awful. I know he was trying to be like Ryan Gosling, but the one problem about Julia is this. There were certain things that Chris was supposed to film, but just didn't have enough time. That's why majority of the film has the script, you know, the details of the script. Really a scroll of what Chris was actually going to do in the film. And some parts were filmed, just not filmed enough. Like, really not filmed enough. Like, there was a part where he was supposed to walk into the club and beat up the guy in the front. There was also a part where after he fights the bouncer and the second bouncer, I will go into one important scene about that, but the part where he was supposed to confront the main bad guy of the film, or as he's called, the Him. But either way, there was supposed to be more scenes of that, but it didn't get filmed. Didn't have enough time to film it. And I guess the last and final thing I should probably mention is the biggest hole of the film is this. The part where one of the bouncers says, you know, maybe she got what she deserved. And Chris takes out a gun and shoots him. But here's the biggest plot hole. And I can say it's the biggest plot hole in the whole entire film. There was no sound effect. Like, it's just like Chris just took out his gun and made it sound like, you know, he shot him. But there was no sound. No gun sound, no blast sound or anything. It was just like he just took out his gun and just, like, yeah, like exactly like that. And also, what's the big twist? Well, it's on YouTube now, not on Chris's main channel, but a different channel that's someone who is a Chris Stuckmann fan. But yeah, but either way, the big twist, I don't think you really care. The big twist, Julia was supposed to be the main character's daughter, is who he's avenging in his film. And yes, this does involve Sam Liz Stuckmann, I mean, whatever she's going by. But either way, Chris's wife, Sam, was in the movie and been in majority of other Chris's movies, like Auditorium 6. Yeah, I have seen Notes of Melody. But, yeah, some of Chris's videos, it has one other film he was planning to do, but, I mean, I won't spoil it for right now. But yes, in comes 2020. Chris really worked a lot of videos in 2020. I know 2020 was not the greatest year of all time, but Chris really busted his butt making a lot of videos, and most majority of people enjoyed those videos a lot. And I should also mention, since I'm talking about one certain person who was on Channel Awesome during the time, that is our big Chris Stuckmann was on Channel Awesome with Doug Walker and majority of people who were on Channel Awesome during the time. And don't worry, I will do a before and after on Doug Walker. Also, Doug Walker and James Rolfe. Trust me, you might want to hear what I have to say. But yes, 2018. Yes, you may have heard the allegations about Channel... Well, I don't know if they're allegations, but dark truth about Channel Awesome during that time of the year of 2018. How they were planning to make another Channel Awesome movie. And of course, you may have heard majority of former Channel Awesome people who you may remember. Linkara, Nostalgia Chick, Angry Joe, Obscure Slupa, Mars Girl. And most majority of people who I'm not subscribed, but I sometimes may look at what they're doing nowadays. That is E-Rod the Blockbuster Buster and our once beloved Chris Stuckmann. And of course, most majority of people were like, bye-bye Channel Awesome, I'm going to do my own thing. And yes, most majority of people of Channel Awesome who used to be on the channel were all gone. Now Channel Awesome, like I said, separate video. But let me just tell you, now we're on the one thing that Chris kept a big giant secret of, and I don't blame him for that, but I do respect him for it. Our dear Chris Stuckmann is now a father of 2 young boys. Not going to say their names, because that's none of my business. But yes, during that time, Chris is like, Alright, I don't want to criticize movies anymore. And yes, this was during the time of his time making his actual real movie that he had a Kickstarter of the time. And of course, Chris Stuckmann winded up making his passion project, that is Shelby Oaks. This is Chris's film that he busted, worked like he never worked before. Now yes, like me, yes. And don't worry, on my birthday, I'm going to do a review on this, just to assure all you about what's going on with me right now. But either way, Chris's channel is now dealing with more other problems. Now, after making Shelby Oaks and being a father of 2, Chris decides to say, no more. I don't want to rip on movies anymore. During the time when Chris was making these other videos that he did on his channel called the Hilariosity videos or Hilariosity reviews, basically take Hilariosity as in so bad it's funny, so bad it's hilarious. So that's the reason why during the time, oh boy, Chris did majority of these videos, just kind of stopped when it came to certain other things. Like, believe it or not, Chris is a big fan of the movie The Room. And yes, I'm not going to do any Tommy Wiseau impressions. What a funny story, Alex. But either way, yeah. During the time, Chris just stopped with the Hilariosity reviews and started just kind of doing more positive reviews on films. Now yes, this does include the biggest controversy of Chris during the time. That is his review of Madam Web. Yeah. His review of Madam Web has gotten Chris a lot of hate. And I really do mean that, a lot of hate that he got. Now, what Chris said that, sometimes studios tend to interfere and kind of lures people to hate movies even more. I know if it's not what he actually said, but most people took it the wrong way. Chris didn't really review bombed Madam Web. He just said stuff that most people were saying, that's not why Madam Web sucks, dude. That's not why it sucked. And not seeing Madam Web, not gonna waste my time, not gonna waste my money, but Madam Web, I'm not wasting my time. I got a lot of time in my hands and I'm not wasting it on a movie that everybody says point blank that is the worst movie of that year. But either way, Chris has kind of lost majority of fans. And this does mean that Jeremy Johns' channel is starting to get a little bit more higher than Chris's channel. But like I said, both Jeremy and Chris, they're both they have a frenemy relationship or friendly relationship or whatever. I mean, you could say it's like Stallone and Schwarzenegger, just only as people who review movies, basically. But either way, I mean, maybe they don't have a frenemy relationship. Maybe they have an alright relationship as of right now. But all I can say is Chris's channel, I mean, guys, the guy's a father. Like, the guy can't keep acting like an immature knucklehead, just bashing movies. And part of me does agree with Chris that, hey, for someone who loves movies, you really like shitting on them. And I guess that's basically Chris's excuse. I love movies, but I don't want to shit on them that much, is what basically Chris is basically saying. But to most people, it's like, well, at least do some bad reviews on something. And yes, I know a majority of you did not like his video on Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. But heck, Chris found something he likes. You know, I mean, don't forget, this is the same person who says that I don't like Crystal Skull, but there's a little part of me that does find it okay-ish. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, and one thing I could say about Chris, big Indiana Jones fan. You think me being a Sonic fan is a thing? Wait till you see Chris's video of his Indiana Jones movie, which he did review himself. But all I can say is, well, some people have their opinions, and some people have their thoughts on movies. So yeah, most majority of people were expecting Chris's videos to be up there with, you know, most majority of people who review bombs movies. But I guess there's some people who are saying, you know, I don't want to always review bomb movies. I want to love movies and I want to enjoy movies, and I don't want to always talk bad about movies. That's just like Chris saying, I'm not reviewing bomb movies. I'm going to try to like movies and try to enjoy being movies. I mean, to his credit, he is a father and he wants to act, well, his age. I mean, Chris is practically the same age I am. Well, I'm about to be 37 in the next few weeks, so. But either way, that's Chris's thoughts. That's my thoughts of Chris Stuckmann. It was not me ranting on him. I think majority of people have already done it already about Chris. But just to say, Chris Stuckmann, you know, some people change their ways. That's the best way I can say it. Can't expect everybody's opinion to be exactly the same as yours. But trust me, Chris, well, Chris is going to do what Chris does. That's basically all I can say. So that's basically all I can say. This is not, I still watch Chris's videos. I'm not mostly big on them nowadays. But whatever Chris makes, you know, he's a grown man. He can do whatever the hell he wants. That's it. So, I don't know if I should make a poll on it saying which do you think I should do a before and after on Doug Walker or James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. But with that being done said, that's today's video. And okay, I mentioned a film that I now changed my opinion on. Well, save it for the next video. And with that being done and said, Vertical Spy, outro. I'm a goddamn dumbass. I even forgot about one thing about Chris that I should probably mention. The film that inspired him was the film Signs by M. Night Shyamalan. And yes, Chris is a big M. Night Shyamalan fanboy. So yes, he loves the hell out of Signs. It's the whole reason why he became a filmmaker. And loves the hell out of the actors who've been in Signs, you know, during that time. So, like I said, Vertical Spy, outro. And one last comment I want to mention. The person you see in the end of this video is the real Steve Blum. Voice of Spike, Tom, and many other voice acting characters he's done. So, definitely listen to him when he says, Steve?
Yo, Steve Blum here, voice of Spike Spiegel. Remember to subscribe and get vertical.